I'm Dr. Sharma, VK, former Deputy Director General of Geological Survey of India, and currently I am advising Government of Bihar on water resources. So, landslides have always been my area of interest, my passion, you can say, and I have devoted maybe over 30 years for the study of landslide, especially in the Himalayas. And ever since 1998, when we studied the Malpa landslide, the whole scenario of landslide studies and research in the country has changed. That is a sort of a study which you can say the watershed studies and research in landslide areas. And after that, we have done a lot of studies on landslides, like the study of Nainital, where a very large scale landslide hazard map has been prepared, and it has been implemented in the as a bylaws for their urban planning. And we can say that was the first step for the landslide reduction program. So similarly, as the theme of the current international conference on landslide is landslides risk reduction and resilience. So such type of studies where we first make a susceptibility map of an area, and we avoid such areas where the problem of landslides are extreme or is going to happen. So that is a challenge that we have to address. In order to meet the challenge, we generally employ various methods. The first is, as I told, that the landslide susceptibility mapping. The other are n number of the structural measures. And structural measures are the retaining structures, the improvement of the drainage, and improvement of the slope profile, and also, and in many cases, very well designed the counterfeit walls. All these measures are important in the risk reduction, but today what I am going to discuss are not the structural measures, because they have their own pros and cons. What I am dealing here is the nature-based solutions for landslide risk strategy. So, as we see this slide, the landslide risk reduction, it involves four types of the general activities. The landslide susceptibility mapping that I talked about, the risk evaluation, landslide monitoring, and the forecast. So this is the package for the landslide reduction program. Now, if we go to the scheme of this reduction, there are modification of slope geometry, drainage improvement, retaining structure, and internal slope reinforcements. So these are structural solutions for the landslide mitigations. They are diversified into a lot of other sophisticated techniques, such as the piles, piers, cast in situ reinforcement, and so many. Now, what I am to focus is, generally in an area there are many shallow landslides, and if you adopt the structural measures for those shallow landslides, it becomes more of a concrete throughout the problematic areas. So here I emphasize that the nature-based solutions may be adopted. Like you see, this is a typical diagram where you have a lot of structural measures. So it leaves sort of a lot of scars on the landscape, and they are not climatically friendly also. But when we talk about the nature-based solutions, like the usage of locally available grass, locally available bamboos, to to contain the landslide, to prevent the landslide, it not only reduce the impact of the landslide, reduce the impact of the landslide, but it also becomes environment friendly. It looks green. Now there is we can see the scheme for choosing where the landslide nature-based solutions are to be used, where the structural measures are to be chosen. So I focus here on the structural, the non-structural measures, then nature-based solutions for the landslide mitigation. Next one, please. What is the concept basically? Basically, it has already been defined by the International Union of Conservation of Nature. The action to protect, sustainably manage and restore the nature or modified ecosystem that address societal challenges effectively and adaptively, simultaneously providing human well-being and biodiversity benefits. So this is the definition of the nature-based solution, and how it is to be chosen for whether the nature-based solutions are to be adopted or the structural measures are to be adopted. There are certain key criteria. So these key criteria include the depth of the failure of a landslide. So the nature-based solutions will only be used where the landslide is shallow. The next is the rate of potential movement. It cannot be used in the areas where the landslide movement is very fast, very rapid. Slope range, it will not be very effective if the slope is very steep, relief is very high. Then the vegetation cover suitability, whether the vegetation cover which we are choosing is conducive for that environment. You cannot make a solution to chase a vegetation in desertic areas as compared to the Himalayan areas. So you have to choose the local vegetation, local plants for the protection work. Then maintenance challenge, whether we are able to maintain those, geotechnical data availability, and the probable loss considering the exposure element at risk with the impact zone. So these are the key criteria. And if we adapt the key criteria, you see in this diagram how there is a plane of failure, potential shear failure, how the tree roots are interfering, and it is strengthening, giving the resistance to the failure surface. So sometimes these plant-based activities are very important, and that not only increases the shear strength of the surface. So if I conclude in what are the main takes of the NBS I am talking about? The first is it a sustainable and cost-effective measures for reducing the risk of extreme weather events? Now, the most important and underlined point is the NBA should be incorporated as a policy in the risk reduction program. We should make as a policy that the nature-based solutions will be used for the specific type of a landslide in area where the key components of the landslides are met with. So this is the landslide risk reduction measures requires the coordination and multidisciplinary teams. It is not the experts in the landslide only. You have to involve the local community, local people, and the experts from various fields, the botanist, the forestry people, and the most important is the community participation. So these nature-based solutions provide a sustainable alternatives and restore a modified ecosystem and adapt impact of the climate change. So this is not only be used as a landslide risk reduction program, but it is also a step for reducing the climate change impact. That is the decarbonization. Thank you very much, and if we adopt such measures, I think we will be doing a step ahead in achieving the targets of the Sendai framework. Thank you very much.